Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Kryptonite, aka Drip to Wealth, and every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we host Twitter Spaces with a special guest. This past week, we had Drip Coach in the building, and he was talking about Change 360, which is a holistic approach to physical, mental, and financial stability. And Coach is an open book on this session. But you got to find out for yourself. So small request, like, subscribe, and throw on the bell notification if you want to continue receiving content like this and be the first to be notified. All right, so let's get into it. In the meantime, I wish everyone peace and prosperity. Until then, stay hydrated. Check out the video.
Hello.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
I can hear you loud and clear. I was just getting set up. How you doing, my friend?
Out freaking standing. Got you Lima Charlie as
Wonderful.
well.
Wonderful, man. Glad to hear that. We're going to wait for a couple people to get joining us.
Yeah, no worries.
Sounds like you've been on a circuit lately.
Yeah, I went out a little earlier so that I wouldn't be in the middle of it. So just got back in about 7 minutes ago.
Sounds good. What time is it there? I know it's pretty early in the
5
morning.
a.m.
Okay, got it. What time do you normally get up?
Somewhere between 4 and 5. So I don't set an alarm, but I go to bed at the same time. So usually I'm up between 4:15, 4:45 is probably the sweet spot.
Sounds good. Love it. And then the first thing you do is it generally get to your workout and get going?
Yeah, drink about a liter of water while I'm getting ready and then head straight out the door. Yeah.
Sounds good. That's discipline. And you've probably been doing that for many years. You probably can't even remember
Oh yeah.
when you started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's actually funny you mentioned that. I tell that to clients all the time. They're like, "How can I find motivation to work out? How can I find motivation for this?" I was like, and it's a quote from Mel Robbins: "Motivation is bullshit." It's like you don't need motivation. What you need is discipline, and you need to have a habit and a routine, something you can stick with. And people get triggered by the word discipline, but it's like discipline is the ability to actually implement some kind of devotion, self-love, self-respect to yourself. It's like, oh, I love myself enough that I'm not going to stay up till midnight eating chocolate bonbons. I'm going to go to bed at 10 o'clock, right? I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and do what I said I'm going to do because I have self love, self worth, all that stuff, right? So it's like, yeah, that's what you need to have. Fuck the motivation.
No, that's so good. Look, I got to make sure people hear that opening because that is a mic drop, but at the beginning of the Twitter Spaces. That's the crazy
All
part.
right.
I see your Mo, and we've got Lady of the Faucet, the one and only Lady Mania. What's happening? Glad you guys are both here. Hey, we're just talking, getting situated. So, Coach was just going through an example of how motivation is kind of BS. And I like how he spent it and really referred to it as like self love. If you think about it in that regard, it actually has a different feel to it, right? You actually think about self awareness and self care when you say like, self love
Right.
and awareness. Like it just feels different versus
Right.
discipline, which is firm and not so inviting.
Right.
And it feels like when you say discipline, it's going to be hard and you've got to cut certain things out.
Right. But they're,
That's still also probably
yeah, they
true,
both
but
have the
it's
same
just the way
outcome.
that you spin it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
NYC, welcome. Lavelle, I see ya. Coach, let's do this, man, because I really want to get into this. This is really interesting stuff because AI, we hear it quite a bit. It's like part of our vocabulary, but I don't know how many people really understand AI
Right.
and then how it really fits into, the world in general, but then fitness, because that's where your love and passion is. And that's obviously part of the Change 360 is kind of creating a synergy between AI technology and cryptocurrency,
Right.
right? Because I know you've got a goal to achieve, and we'll get into that. And that goal is clearly attainable. I just want to make certain people are aware of it, and then more importantly, understand the benefits because they are massive, and I think people are missing it. So I want to make certain that that comes across loud and clear on our Twitter Spaces.
Awesome.
So I want to allow enough time to cover it. And if there's something we don't get into or something that you think is extremely relevant and we need to talk about it,
Right.
let's just bring it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's just bring it up. All right. So let's do this, coach, because I don't want to assume anything again. This is going to be part of standard operating procedures. Like, I really want people to understand who you are. And again, think about it from this
Hmm.
regard. We tend to say, hey, I got this YouTube channel. I just covered that on my last video. Well, what if I'm new to Twitter Spaces and I haven't seen your last video? Like, who are you?
Right, right, right,
Like, help me understand who Drip Coach is. And then that probably tells a story behind why you're passionate about AI technology, physical fitness, and then more importantly, the health and wellness of an entire community. All right.
right.
So let's maybe do that for them if that's okay with you. Like, just really quick, introduce yourself and let people know who you are.
Sure thing. All right. So for those of you that don't know me, I go by Drip Coach. It's a moniker that just kind of stuck now after about a year running this YouTube channel. But prior to even this, I've been doing some form of coaching my entire life. I've done taught martial arts, have five different black belts. So I used to teach that professionally. I was doing we call it physical training leader in the military, so teaching the actual health and fitness side of exercise in the military. Then I was teaching actually IT, so my background is IT. So oddly enough, that's where a lot of this love comes from. So I was the kid. I don't know, some of you may not be old enough yet, but when we had the Macs in the computer labs in school and playing the Oregon Trail and all these other games on computers, I was the kid that was trying to take it apart and trying to figure out how to hide programs on the computer and all this stuff at a young age. So I've always been fascinated by
Right.
tech, and fitness has always been part of that because my dad was in the military. He retired. So I think that blend early on as a kid of health and fitness and technology just carried myself into my military career doing IT work originally, actually air traffic control, and then IT work, but still keeping fitness as a hobby, if you will. Then eventually,
Mm,
fitness became the primary job when I moved out here to Cambodia to teach it, and then that brought me back to the AI or tech side, not AI just yet, but brought me back to the tech side because um, delivering my personal training via web apps and apps on your phone and stuff like that, and doing virtual calls even before COVID. So it was just a natural progression to have both health and fitness and tech kind of blended together.
that is crazy because, people, they spend a lifetime, coach, really trying to figure out what they want to do when they grow up.
Right,
When you really think about that, like how many people create or at least think about a major when they're probably about what, 17, 18, 19 years old? You're supposed to determine what you want to do with the rest of your life and
right,
then go get a degree in that thing and finally realize that that's not what I want to do. So you spend many more years, in an occupation that just pays the bills. There's no passion behind it. There's no desire. You don't necessarily feel like you're moving the needle.
right,
So people spend a lifetime trying to figure out what they want to do when they grow up. And it seems like for you, just the military background from your father, the physical fitness, and then a passion for technology, you've got an opportunity to kind of marry both
right.
and do something you really enjoy. That's crazy,
Yeah, for sure.
right? So when they say, when you do what you love, it doesn't really feel like work. Does it feel like work when you're coaching people in physical fitness and playing around with technology? Does it feel like work or is it still fun to you?
No, this is definitely fun. So I spend hours on hours a day doing research and stuff like that. So I enjoy the coaching aspect. So actually out here, I had a physical gym that I brought or built, I should say, and the actual in-person training. So I don't enjoy the actual what I call just rep counter coaches, the ones that sit there, good job, one more rep, two more. Like I can't stand that. I prefer the mindset side of coaching and dropping the kind of nuggets and stuff like you guys see on my channel to get people to actually become, like we mentioned earlier, self-disciplined and have the ability to take these tools and hone them towards their own life, and then hopefully each one teach one and spread that out like a ripple effect. Whereas if I'm just there with you counting your reps and that's all you get out of the session, then I feel like I failed as a coach. So when I'm actually doing the at scale coaching, that's where I shine and what I enjoy doing the most. So that's definitely not work. I love doing 100% of that, doing the research, condensing all that down, and then giving it back to someone for them to get that aha moment. And like there's an old saying that goes, "Those who can't teach," and I believe the same thing is,
It took a moment. I had to think through that. I love that.
yeah.
Okay, okay. I know where you're going with that.
So
All
I
right.
believe it's the
Uh-huh.
same way in coaching because, for example, if you look at some of
Yeah.
the absolute best in class coaches, like some of the gym coaches in the Olympics, are typically like these fat white guys that teach you ballet or not ballet, gymnastics, right? They're out of shape. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
how is that possible? And they
Yeah.
got gold medal, gymnasts. Or if you look at Usain Bolt's coach, he couldn't sprint to the end of the block, but he's there
Yeah.
ensuring that Usain Bolt could be or was the fastest man in the world. I think he just recently got beat. But the point is that there's something very rewarding about that because at some stage you just have a bunch of knowledge that you want to distill, and being able to give that to someone and them executed on it is just as good as winning the medal or the award yourself. So that's where I get
Totally.
my feedback from.
No, that's good because in your opinion, you get the fruits of your labor like real time.
Right.
And that's satisfying in itself. And you're right. What's shocking is most people who are really good at something, specifically sports, since you brought that up, they do struggle with coaching. And my best example is like Michael Jordan.
Right. Right.
Right? He's probably the best basketball player, arguably, but struggle with building a team and coaching.
Right.
And to your point, it is something unique about those people who may not be the best athlete in our example, but understand the game so well that they could put the right people in the right places to build a championship.
Right.
So that's something to be desired, man. So again, that's probably hence your play on words with drip coach,
Exactly.
right? So again, your background has been around leading people in physical fitness and in the armed forces, and sounds like now you want to blaze trails in the tech space,
Yeah.
right? So let's do this. Let's get into that. So again, I kind of led with AI.
Hmm.
So again, it's like a very generic term that we all hear,
Yeah.
and it's still kind of spooky and not really sure what it really means. You know what I mean,
Yep.
Coach? So like dumb that down for like the average person. Like what would you say AI is, and why people should really be paying attention?
Oh man, yeah. I guess what it is not what we've seen it in the movies. So this
Yeah,
isn't Skynet, taking over and we're all going to be doomed to our own peril of the machines. But in simple terms, it's, for those that don't know, stands for artificial intelligence. But it's basically doing or simulating what we do as humans, right? So as a child or even throughout your adult life, you learn from other people or from other experiences. You now can do the same thing with computers. You can let them learn from other experiences, from other information, from other simulations, and they just basically extrapolate that data. So they learned that there was a video I put out where they had a computer learning to play Pong, which is like the arcade, with the paddle at the bottom, and then it's trying to
yeah,
break the blocks. So what they did in that simulation is they just told the computer about the environment. Like, here's this bar down here, here's four walls around the entire environment, and then here's this ball, and then there's some blocks at the top. Like, that's just simple information it gave it. So then you see the computer trying to figure out, well, what do I do in here? So the paddle's moving back and forth, the ball is missing, yada yada yada. And I think they gave it one goal. It said increase the score at the top of the screen, like the number, make this number go up. So it had no idea what to do. But over time, it starts to figure out, okay, move the paddle, okay, hit the ball hits the wall. Oh, there's angles. Oh, the box, when it hits the blocks break. And then eventually it gets really good at, bouncing it back and forth really, really well. Then it gets a strategy. It's like, the fastest way to do this and
mm-hmm,
optimize the score is to break one side and let the ball bounce around up top to clear out the most paddles. So it gets efficient at doing it, right? So that's
yeah.
AI in a nutshell. It's basically just constantly taking in data and it never fails. So I use this in my coaching all the time. Because as human beings, we have this fear of failure, but AI actually never fails. It looks at failure as an acronym that I like: first attempt in learning, right? So,
Ooh, soundbar. Hold on. Yeah, that's a soundbar, man. We got to get to the soundbar, man. Gotta get to the
right.
sound. Love it.
So all it's doing is going, okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else. That didn't work. Let me try something else
Yeah,
until it figures out, in
yeah,
its opinion, the absolute optimal, most efficient way to do something. And then that's it. Then it continues to do that thing until you change another variable or something like that. So what we have right
Mm.
now in AI is a very simplified version of that, where they fed it a bunch of data. This is specifically the ChatGPT side, which is a language model. So they just fed it a bunch of text, just gigs and gigs worth of text, written text and scoured from the internet and books and all this stuff like that. And it just basically formulates like a math equation, like 1 + 1 = 2. So it's assuming if I get these three words in sequence, the next word is probably this. And now that I have these four words, the next word is this. So it's just doing math over and over and over and over and over again. So it knows that if I say elephant, cat probably doesn't come after elephant, right? Or
Yes.
cat, whatever, elephant before cat, whatever the case may be. It never
Yeah.
finds that in language. So that's all it's really doing, is just running real time processing and comparing historical data points with words that go together based in context. So there's no real intelligence there. It's just really fast at processing data.
And that's something. And to your point, the missing variable is the emotional side of things.
Right.
Like most human beings naturally get frustrated, disappointed, upset when they attempt something and they fail at it.
Exactly.
And we normally take that energy and we just stop. It's like we're stuck in quicksand. We don't want to move. And if we thought more like AI, which is let me process what happened, build that into my next step,
Yep.
and then see what happens and continue to rinse and repeat until you achieve whatever success looks like for you, either in physical fitness
Exactly.
or mental intelligence or, wealth. Like, wouldn't that be shocking?
Exactly.
Like that is the secret sauce there. Kind of manage your emotions as you attempt to learn something new and say to yourself that there are no losses. It's really just lessons,
Yep.
and build them into the equation. Man, that's powerful. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, so good. So that helps me understand, and everyone else, for to your point, who is like, this term is so ambiguity. There's a lot of ambiguity around AI. Like, I know what it stands for, but what does it mean and
Right.
how does it work? So that's good, coach. So let's do this, because when I think about Change 360, you're attempting to bridge AI with cryptocurrency,
Hmm.
but it's really based on two pillars, right? So one is, we just call it like a holistic well-being, and in my mind, that's both physical and mental health.
Right.
But then you're adding a second pillar, which is wealth,
Right.
like financial stability. All right. So where did Change 360 come from? Let's start there.
Uh,
Like, where did this idea come from in your mind?
yeah, so the original idea was born out of the pandemic, right? So there's another phrase that some people look at problems as what do you call that? Something negative, and others see it as opportunity. So for me, the pandemic problem out here in Cambodia, it actually hit us later. Ironically, even though we're closer to China, it came later. So we were doing well while the U.S. was initially locked down and other Western countries were locked down as well. So my gym was still functioning, everything was great. But mind you, so the pandemic closed down, places of recreation, places of human connection and interacting and all this stuff, right? So I have a physical gym, and then now all of a sudden we're on lockdown here, and I'm like, this is my income stream. I have rent,
Surprise.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And I knew at that moment, I was like, I got to figure something out, because if not, this dream dies here with me. So it's like, well, what's the opportunity from this? And I was like right in the middle of a workout, asking myself. That's usually when I do my brainstorming. It's when I'm working out,
Okay. Okay.
because
Got it.
it gives my body. I can find something to do with my body and lets my mind subconsciously kind of work on problems. So while I was working
Got
out,
it. Okay.
it came to me. I was like, oh, the opportunity here is that the entire world is being impacted physically from this. So nobody has access to their gym to exercise anymore, and they're being locked indoors. So their mental wellness is suffering. Like, this is impacting everybody on a mental level due to the restrictions and all that stuff. So I was like, so there's an entire need for some form of support in this. And I was like, okay, so what does that look like? And me, again, being mostly a physical training coach and strength training coach, I was like, okay, I don't actually have the tools in my tool belt, but I've always believed in collaboration over competition. So I started looking at it from, well, who are the people that are equipped to hold classes online and actually excel in this environment? And the
Mm-hmm.
first couple things that jumped up were like group classes, not group classes, but like Pilates, yoga, Zumba, all mindfulness kind of coaching. I was like, okay, so all these people can definitely host their classes online and not have any issue. I was like, but I don't teach any of that. I'm not going to be able to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to learn this. I'm not going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
how about instead I put all these people together because each of them are like a tool in your carpenter toolbox. They have one way to approach the problem, but if I make something where we all work together to solve this problem, then I have a business model that now I can market. So kind of what I've done with drip marketing DAO and everything else I've done in my life, I look for areas of opportunity and try to bring in the pieces of the puzzle to make it work as a kind of a well-oiled machine together. So find the there's a book called Disrupt You, and it's basically telling you to find areas within different businesses where you can blend things together to create a disruption and $1 billion business. So for me,
Gotcha.
this was that disruption model because prior to this, and still right now, the health and fitness industry is so selfish in a way. Like you don't outsource or you don't actually recommend other people because you think that they're competition. So if I'm a
Absolutely.
yeah, so if I'm a strength coach, I'm not going to tell you about yoga. I'm gonna be like, nah, man, just keep lifting heavy weights. And the guy's like, yeah, but I'm tight.
Absolutely.
It's like I don't care. Shut up and lift the weights.
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. Stretching is overrated.
right.
Yeah, get to the weights. Yeah.
So I saw this as the opportunity, reached out to a couple people here in Cambodia that had these different areas, and I created this original business model of it was called Fit Pros. So it was like fitness professionals, and it was going to be underneath a DAO model. Actually, before DAO, it was just going to be an online training module that would have Zumba, yoga, mindfulness, and I had a nutrition specialist, more like in the I forgot what you call that kind of health and wellness, that holistic aspect, Ayurvedic wellness. So he was going to teach that,
Mm.
and we were just going to blend the modules together and give people different pieces and parts based on where they were, and that got kicked off. But due to again the pandemic and working with people in multiple different regions and different time zones, I just couldn't get any traction. So that idea kind of died on the shelf or got put on the back burner. And then gyms reopened and went back, and then I found got heavy into crypto and all that stuff like that, and then pivoted into drip and just left it on the back burner until eventually I get to the point
Yeah.
where I'm at now, and I'm like, aha, here's an opportunity now where I have an audience and I still have this thing I'm super passionate about that I can finally execute on this.
Man, and I'm so glad you did too, because honestly, these two, well, one has always been a passion of mine, that's physical fitness. And then the the technology around cryptocurrency specifically has become like a second passion. Like when I first got started with cryptocurrency, the real short story was it was introduced to me back in like 2017ish,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really just Bitcoin at the time.
Yep.
And I had no desire to learn anything about it because honestly, I thought it was a fad. It was a coin that no one could really explain to me. I didn't see the value associated with
Yep.
it. You at the time you couldn't use it for transactions, and if you did, it was expensive. And then the ability to actually purchase Bitcoin was
Yeah,
painful.
exactly.
You know what I mean, Coach? It was just all of the red flags were just glaring in my face. And fast forward to 2021, it was reintroduced to
Mm-hmm.
me when it was over 20,000. So at the time, it had been like six, seven hundred
Yep.
dollars, and then it went to 21,000. I was like, oh my god, I really screwed up.
Right, right,
Like I messed up, and this will not happen to me again.
right.
So I had someone very close to me who brought the idea to me in 2016, 2017. Brought it back up in 2021. It was my nephew who is super passionate about technology.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Kryptonite, you've got to understand this. And here's the point of the story. The point of the story is when you see a macroeconomic trend developing,
Right.
you better spend some time trying to understand it first
Exactly.
and then identify the opportunity second.
Yep.
Because there is a place for people to do a lot of things with crypto and AI and now physical fitness. So for those people that are really
Exactly.
that are on the call that are listening and kind of struggling with the concept of AI and how we fuse these two worlds together, coach is going to be here to kind of bridge that gap for you.
Yeah.
And I'm saying don't get lost in the sauce. Like keep it at a very high level and think about in terms of your physical fitness goals and your financial goals and the tools that he's going to be introducing to help what's the best word to help expedite that process
Mm.
to maybe make it more efficient,
Yeah.
like using the technology to help gauge and track and adjust and monitor progress. Like at its core, that's all we're doing,
Exactly.
right? So stay locked in, everybody. Stay locked in. All right, so let's do this, coach. Let me give a shout out to some of the folks that just joined us. uh, we've got, is it 0x077? Welcome to the call. Rock Ape, I see you. NYC, Todd Nugs, Mo, Mark, Thinja, Lavelle, Crypto Clumpy, welcome to the call. Tony, welcome, my friend. Dividend Miracle, Michael, welcome to the call. Who else we got here? Is it Drip the Rietis? I probably butchered that, but welcome to the call. And we also have Zero RZKRWTR. Welcome to the call. All right. So for everybody listening in, if I know who you are, I will give you an opportunity to ask Coach a question. And again, we are going through Change 360. And Coach has done a really good job of kind of introducing himself to the community, right? Because again, for me personally, that's important in terms of building trust,
Yeah.
right? You got to know who the person is. And a lot of this stuff is taking place, in front of a camera or on Twitter Spaces, and you really just get the audio.
Right.
But when you get the story, right, you can, and I'll speak for myself, you can generally tell someone's intent just on the delivery, the content, and in my case, like the energy
Hmm.
that I feel from an individual. Right. So I asked him to spend time introducing himself so you can find out who he is. And then the next thing he was able to do for us is kind of go through this term called AI, right? We kind of get lost in the sauce and really not understanding what that specifically means. So he was able to break that down. So if you missed it, you guys got to get an opportunity to kind of play it back on YouTube and Twitter Spaces, right? So make sure you kind of dial in. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to fast forward to Change 360, which is live now, right, Coach? So congratulations,
Yes.
Change 360 is
Well,
live, and you guys
actually,
are going
not
through
exactly live.
well,
The
the
yes. Yeah.
crowdfunding
There we
phase
go.
specifically.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that part of it is live, and you guys have actually collected some money.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we're at 30%, I think, crowdfunded.
Yeah,
So that's a good introduction. So what's important to note about this, and you may or may not be familiar, maybe you participated with GoFundMe or Kickstarter or something like that. But basically, the way our model works is the exact same thing, but just decentralized. You get an NFT for your purchase of the allocated tier. But what's important to note about that amount is that if we don't meet that 80% threshold, which I think is like $12,000 or $10,000, something like that, I can't remember the exact number, then you get your money back. So some people ask me, it's like, hey, I purchased, but I don't have the NFT. Where is it? Well, when it ends, which I think it's around April
yeah,
25th, the smart contract will determine did we meet the threshold or not. And if we did, then you will end up with an NFT in your wallet, all decentralized, done by the blockchain. And if not, then you'll just get your BUSD back in your wallet. So there's no risk to the individuals that are participating. And even if we don't get the crowd-funded model I'm sorry, the funding that we need, we're still building the platform. So the platform is being built and it will be released within the next, I'd say 30 to 45 days for people to actually interact with. So
yeah.
regardless, this is my forever project, the AI and tech that I'm sorry, health and fitness that we were introducing earlier on the call. So I'm going to continue to build this out because I do know that this is the future. All three of these things
Yeah.
intersecting are coming at a breakneck speed, and I just want to ride the wave. So no matter what,
No, it's gonna
right?
happen. It's gonna happen. Like you said, it's not if, but when.
Exactly.
to your point, I think what simply said, you're giving people within the drip community who you've been extremely loyal to an opportunity to gather an equity position in this trailblazing product.
Right.
Like that's what you're doing. And you're saying, look, man, I'm going to make it happen regardless. But you guys can help me get there faster by participating in this crowdfunding.
Exactly.
And not just giving me money, but actually you're earning equity in the form of the NFTs that we're going to be offering. And there are crazy perks associated with the NFTs that you're offering, right?
Right. Right.
So let's do this. So because I want people, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know that people quite understand the value associated with the product itself and then the damn perks that are associated with it. So let's just repeat right now, you're at about 31% of your goal,
Mm.
right? So close to like 4,000 has been
Right.
raised. The target is 12.5. That is a small ask for such a massive community. And then all of the work that you do in terms of educating the community on the entire drip ecosystem, like that in itself is worth 12.5, right? Because think about it this way, coach. Look, I had a very short window of YouTube videos. I'm going to get back to that in April. I think we talked about that
Right.
before. I know how hard it is to put out content, edit videos, and be consistent with that process,
Yep.
right? Because what you're doing on the back end is one, you're making certain that you understand the information. So you're becoming an expert within the DeFi space, specifically the drip ecosystem. And then two, you're saving everyone that watches your videos a ton of time, a ton of time, because you're shifting through all of the noise,
Right.
right? And only putting out the relevant content. So I guess that's my way of saying, guys, make certain that you understand Change 360. And if you support Drip Coach, which I know you guys do because everyone's watching his freaking videos, right? So
Right. Right.
I know you do. I know you do. So find it in your way if there is dry powder to maybe get involved because his affordable NFT is only $100, I believe,
Yes,
right?
that is correct. The tier one's $100.
Yeah, $100. So that's not a lot, right? So let's help him get there. But he's going to do his part by continuing to provide information to make your decision a little clearer, right? So let's do this, coach.
Yep.
Because here's what I wanted to understand with the AI technology.
Right.
So a lot of it is focused on using the technology for physical fitness and really monitoring, tracking, and developing a customized fitness program
Yes.
and nutrition program, probably.
All
Okay,
areas. So mental, physical, spiritual, nutritional, whatever. Like the goal is the holistic wellness aspect.
got it. So let me ask you this, because when I keep thinking about AI, I'm thinking about what technology are you going to use to gather all of this data?
Yeah, so that's the great part about this revolution that we're embarking on. So, what I mentioned earlier, ChatGPT is the kind of standard in the space. There's been other, well, I guess I'll rewind real quick. OpenAI, which was a company founded originally with Elon Musk and a couple other people, and then Elon kind of went on his own way since he's doing his own thing with AI and whatnot. But OpenAI is the company that is in charge of ChatGPT, and they released it to the public basically last November, so under 6 months ago. And it was the fastest adopted piece of technology in human history. Nothing else has
Gotcha.
grown as fast as that model has. And since then, so this is another key thing to understand about AI. So I mentioned before the AI never fails, it only learns how to improve. With that learning of how to improve, it's exponential learning. So we all learn linear, meaning one to the next step is two, to the next step is three. When you go exponential, it's one, two, four, 16,
Yeah,
whatever 16 times 16 is. So it gets
absolutely.
crazy
Yeah,
extremely fast. And to show where that's at, when they first released the model, it was, it didn't even have, I think ChatGPT 5 is coming out now. So it was like right below three. Then they did three, then three and a half, and then four, and now we're at five. Like it's just the speeds at which they're getting, because they're getting more and more data and feedback from more and more people using it. Well, more people using it means more data to feed into it, and the faster it can learn. So
Makes sense.
since we're still at its infancy stage with maybe a couple million users, this thing is going to explode. And this is just one piece of AI. Like there's other areas within tech that are using AI as well, but our model will use this because they've made it public. And all that
Okay.
means is that we can access their database and plug it in on the front end of a website, and you just are interacting with a chatbot, but we're making it simple. So something I learned from Tony Robbins' mastery courses, he said, if you want better answers, you got to ask better questions.
Very true.
And this is why most people never move forward in life or succeed in things, because they're not asking the right questions. And the AI model is the same way. So it's like, yes, anyone can go and use this ChatGPT feature, but if you don't know how to phrase the questions, you're not going to get the answers out that you can actually execute on. And that's all we do, is minimize that friction and make that point easier.
Got it. Now, when you say ask the question, so would you get the responses from your clients, or you're going to be asking specific questions about the general population of your clients to then develop fitness programs and nutritional programs?
The client will be interacting directly with the AI. So if you were, for example, my
Perfect.
client, you would come to me and say, "Hey,
Yep.
coach, here's my goals. Here's my current time. Here's what I eat. Here's what I want." And you'd be asking me that, and I would go, "Okay, here's your plan, right? So that's all you're paying me to do."
Yeah.
Well, I can only do that, at a certain speed and quantity based on the amount of time I have in a day. Well, ChatGPT or AI can do that at scale infinitely and much more tailored, because I only have access to the data that I've consumed. So I
Sure.
may not know something, that a different technique from someone else that's maybe more effective for your specific
Yeah.
case. Well, AI has access to that. So it's going to be able to give much more tailored, specialized um, uh, steps towards your wellness journey. And what I mentioned before, I think with you briefly when we talked the first time, is that it's going to also be able to give you the next steps for exactly where you are based off of what has been coming up. So, for example, I talked to Luke on his channel about this. Shouts out to Luke Beach Office 365. He had a loved one pass, and I actually had a client out here who had a grandfather pass. So this happens in life, right? Things come up where you are not at your mental best to do maybe the physical part of your training, or even to eat right, because your actual brain chemistry is off. So now you're looking for comfort foods to make you feel better. Well, a
Yes.
strength coach like myself, the only tool in there is suck it up, buttercup, lift the weights, right? That doesn't work.
Right.
And that's not what you need at that point. But an
It's
AI
true.
can actually give you recommended steps. You're like, hey, I've been working out consistently. I hit a plateau because I just had a loved one pass and I'm not feeling up to working out. And it's like, well, why do you not feel up to working out? What are you going through? What's going on? Well, this, that, and the third. And then you can start to get customized steps. So it's like maybe taking time off, maybe go outside and walk, and do some gratitude, do some journaling, talk to a loved one. Like it's going to give you a very different training plan than suck it up,
Yeah.
buttercup, do two more reps.
I love it. Because honestly, that's what people tend to think about. And again, we're really minimizing the massive impact of AI technology with physical fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking just my own personal experience. When I think about a personal trainer, I'm really thinking about that. Like going to the gym, spending time with an individual. Their goal is to design a plan or create a plan based on my fitness goals.
Right.
And while I'm in the gym, it's their job to correct form and make certain I exceed myself by doing extra reps. Like that's it. I don't necessarily think of my personal trainer as a person I'll go to for counseling and mental health and things like that.
Right.
And you're
Exactly.
saying that your AI technology can build that into the holistic experience.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Okay,
Exactly.
hold on. That's a soundbite. That's a, that's a soundbite. And here's the funny part, Coach, because I actually wanted to bring that up specifically because I really wanted to understand like the biggest difference between a personal trainer at your local gym and then someone who's going to attempt to provide a holistic experience from a distance.
Mhm.
Like, what do you think the biggest barrier is, because I'll go back to my first example, which is, in my experience, I kind of enjoy personally
Hmm.
the ability to go to a gym, hear the loud
Hmm.
noises. There's a bit of competition involved, because when you see like people in much better shape doing extra reps, I feel like there's a competition because you want to kind of compete, do at minimum the same or maybe a bit
For
more.
sure.
And then on occasion, you do want a coach kind of screaming at you to get the extra rep in, because those are the ones that really count.
Right.
So kind of like compare and contrast a traditional experience, personal trainer at a coach, and then one from a distance.
Yeah. So my experience, like it's exactly what you mentioned. So people gravitate towards that physical training, especially when you say I need a coach. They tend to gravitate towards, oh, it's because I need to have someone there to motivate me. And this goes back to what we opened the call with about motivation. And I'll just share it again because most people weren't on the call. So Mel Robbins, an inspirational author and great book writer. Um, she has a quote that says, motivation is bullshit. And the reason why, she's also a psychologist, forgot to mention that. So she does a lot of study of the human brain. So the reason she says that is because motivation is actually only there in brain chemical form to do things that we enjoy and look forward to doing and that give us
Absolutely.
this positive feedback. And they're typically the easy things like, I can't wait to go to the beach with my family. That's this excitement, this
Right.
motivation, right? But when we're talking about health and fitness and doing the hard thing, challenging the body, getting sore, waking up early, or eating the bland foods you don't want to eat, whatever, there's nothing motivating about it. So, what you need to do instead, and this kind of goes back to the point of what you're mentioning about who benefits the most or not, or what's different about these two environments, is that you can have that
Yeah.
motivation from a coach because they can be in your face and help you get to that next milestone and support you and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when that area is no longer there, you don't have that coach, you move, they shut the gym down due to COVID, who do you have left to depend on? Yourself. So you need,
Just your stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you need the discipline to actually do these things sustainably for a lifetime. Like I tell my clients, it's like, yeah, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. You got to be willing to do this until you die, and that's not a lot to ask from you. That's, so I want them to understand that there's no quick fix,
Right.
and
No,
and
I wish there were, but
and
no,
the only way
no,
to
there
get
isn't.
that is to create some habit, some routine, something that's sustainable. So that's the big difference is that you get that initial kickstart from that physical gym environment. And of course, with our AI
Yeah,
platform, you'll be getting programs that you can use in the gym. But when you
for
hit
sure.
these different roadblocks, the where we outshine or where online outshines in general is that it can meet you where you are, wherever you are. It be that a physical change in what you need to do. So you no longer want strength training, you need a yoga coach for flexibility or whatever, it'll adapt immediately. You don't have to go find another one. You don't have to go find a gym for it. You're traveling and you need a program that gets modified immediately for your travels. So that is the, I think, real use case is the flexibility to support each
Mm-hmm.
person where they are, who they are, whatever time in life they need it.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Soundbar. Soundbar. Hey, Coach, I've got Lavelle on. He is on every week, and he is a drip maxi. He's supporting everybody on every platform,
Nice.
and actually just want to invite him on to speak. Lavelle, can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, I can hear you okay. So just
Hey, welcome, my friend.
hey, just a quick question for Drip Coach. So does the so you type in the information far as for your meal plan and for as kind of your workout routine.
Hmm.
Now does the AI tool spit out like rest and recovery as well? Does it spit that out? And the other question is, I believe you alluded to it. Like what if I'm not progressing? Does it have the ability to kind of adjust on the fly? I don't know. Maybe I need to do more push-ups. Maybe I need to do more
Right.
jumping jacks. And I'll
Yes.
hang off and listen.
Yeah.
Good question, Lavelle.
Yeah, great question. So it's exactly what you said. So it's essentially again what I do as a coach. So it won't be adjusting on the fly like in real time, because as you're working out, you haven't given the AI or even a real coach that feedback about how your workout went. So you'll have to come back to the platform, and there will be a place where you're able to give it feedback on how that went, an actual check-in. So like with my clients, I have them if they're virtual, basically give me a 1 week update check-in. What went well? What didn't work so well? What would you change? What was a sticking point? These kinds of questions. And then from those probing questions, it can give you another path forward, basically. And if you're plateauing, then you can say, hey, look, I'm struggling with XYZ. So the easiest one is nutrition. So I'll just use that example, because with the physical part, that takes a little while before it would actually know, even me as a coach or the AI would know that it's not working. You can't just say, hey, I did 100 push-ups today and my chest is still small. It doesn't work that way. So there's going to be a little bit of time from the physical side. But if the
Yeah.
nutrition side, you're like, hey, you gave me a 5 meal a day plan and I'm extremely busy and I don't have time to meal prep. Can you give me instead 3 meals and that take less than 10 minutes to create? And then it'll adjust your meal plan for that. Or I don't have access to these ingredients. Can you make it with only these ingredients instead? And it'll do something like that.
Got it. Lavelle, did that answer your question? I think so. I saw
Yep.
the thumbs up a few times.
Yeah, but that answered my question. And also, does it factor in rest and recovery too?
Yeah, so there will be like traditional scientific supported rest that you need. But again, as you're giving updates, so let's just say it does a workout plan and it's like, 3 sets of 10, 60-second rest in between every other day, full body split, something like that. If you give it feedback and say you feel better and want to work out 4 days a week, then it'll change that. You say, I'm not recovering, I feel super sore, then it'll say, try out maybe some stretching, some foam rolling, do an ice bath. Let's break your workout down to 2 days. So it's going to all be based off of the information you give it. And that's where this first attempt in learning comes from with us as well. And what I told my team is we are encouraging the actual users to tell us what's not working. So to give feedback. So it's very different than the crypto space where constructive criticism is shunned. We only succeed if you give us this constructive criticism. So I'm actually pushing to get as much constructive and negative criticism as possible, because that allows me to build the
Yeah.
best model. So it'll be literally on the site every time you purchase and every time you come back, you'll be able to give feedback on what didn't work. And I'm going to actually reward you with points for that can be used later on in the
Yeah.
raffle, because that's the most important piece of this. It's like, yeah, I want you to spend your money. Great. But I need to make this successful and I need your results for that. So I'm actually looking at the completely lacking side, like I said, of the kind of DeFi degen space and leveraging the AI. And exactly what I told my team. I was like, we don't need to put out a home run hit. All we need is something out there to get feedback on. And you guys need to be
Thousand
aware
percent.
that people are going to be upset with our product, and that's perfectly okay. Remove your feelings and let's focus on the facts and how to improve it. And then we just keep making one step at a time.
Soundbar. Yeah, feedback is important, especially when you're trying to create something. And you need the feedback from the people that are actually using it, because they're an extension of the entire population size.
Right.
So the sooner you get something out, and I tell people that, like, at some point you've got to say pencils are down.
Right.
Pencils down. This is all the information that we have at this moment in time.
Right.
So based on that, this is what we're going to release.
Right.
And as the feedback comes in, it doesn't feel good when someone tells you it sucks. This isn't working for me.
Exactly.
And if they do it in the right way, and people have thick skin and they really focus on the big picture, which is, I'm going to release this product because my focus is to improve the overall health and wellness of an entire population size. So until we get there, I know that we're going to hit a few roadblocks, and there's a few hurdles we've got to jump over.
It just
And just stay focused on the mission,
Right.
which is take the feedback, because if it's constructive, you and I both know the difference. Most people on the call know the difference between constructive feedback and people who are just hating.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
The constructive feedback are telling you, I've attempted to do something. This isn't quite working. Hey, this would be a great ad. Can you modify this?
Right.
And if it makes sense, totally, you kind of build it in.
Yeah, and here's actually the other beautiful part about building an AI platform with AI. So that feedback you're talking about, we can actually have the AI go through. So let's just say we're getting tons of
Ooh,
feedback all at the same time or whatever.
yeah.
We're not actually have to go through it. We can actually feed this into the database and tell it to give us the top 10 points that came up, summarize it, and ask it to
Oh,
give us a solution for the next step forward to iterate on this. So
come
you can
on. That's
remove.
the exponential piece you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about right
exactly. So
there.
you remove
Yeah,
your fear of failure, your emotion, the human side, and you actually leverage the tech the way it was meant to be done, and then you can design something that's, beneficial on both sides.
love it. All right, coach, we had somebody else pop in. It is Dividend Miracle. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the call, my friend.
Thank you, thank you. As Coach was talking, he has actually answered my first question, but the second one would be for the AI. Would you know, or would the people that are on there, would they know like your body type? So what works for you, like for food, doesn't particularly work for me. Like, would the AI or someone be able to figure that out, or what?
Yeah, so it's going to
Sounds
be
good question.
exactly like, again, with coaching. So if you came to me and you said, I'm this tall, this old, weigh this much, I've been doing this amount of exercise for this long, I prefer this type of training, here's my goal. So you're giving me all this information, and then from that we come up with a plan. And like I was mentioning earlier, if it's just me, I have a limited data set to pull from and limited experience. And of course, this is a global platform. So the way that different body types respond, different cultures, different demographics, look, shape, all that respond differently to different stimuli. So because of that, it's going to be a lot more challenging for a human person to give you the next best step and you get a home run with that versus the AI taking that in and
Right.
being a lot, still going to be some mistakes, hence the need for feedback, but it's going to be a lot closer to your body type and what you exactly need. And then when you come back and say, hey, these 4 out of 10 things were great, these other 6 didn't work so well, it now has even more data to pull in and give you a better step forward. And again, we're collecting this information from people all over. So the more people with the exact same physicalities or issues or body type that you have, the better the data set will be to support you and your goals. And again, if I'm a coach human side, I don't have access to all that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
Right on, Dividend Miracle. Appreciate you. All right. Anyone else? Any other questions for coach? I'll give it a minute. Let's see who else popped in. Master Shelf, welcome, my friend. Crypto Bag, Trav. Danger, always on. It's my guy with a capital G. Who else we got? Who popped on? Robert, welcome to the call.
Yeah,
All right, coach. Let's see else.
I guess while you're looking, I'll just explain a little more about the tiers, because you really hit this home and touched on this about the support and the crowdfunding aspect and being able to leverage a piece of this pie. And that to me is the biggest part. So right now we're all part of the drip community. And I've mentioned this on my channel before about the casino analogy and basically the casino being closed and everybody's just trying to take a bigger piece of that same slice. But by moving outside the DeFi degen space and tackling an entirely different sector, you make the pie much, much, much bigger. And what's I'm trying to do with this is what I also talk about on my channel is the empower the impoverished side. So from a coach's perspective, especially being out here, my tool set that I have and what I would normally charge for services in the US is far more expensive than what the people here in Cambodia can afford to pay me. But they have every right to this, uh, I guess you would call it better training and information, right? Just because they don't make the money doesn't mean they're less off or should not have the same affordability and access to it. But unfortunately, that's the way kind of capitalism works. You can't afford to pay the price, you don't get access. But
Absolutely.
with AI and a global platform and payment rail like crypto, I can now use this. I think our introductory model is going to be $5. So you're able to get a customized meal plan that again is going to be very different for a Cambodian person's goals and their food preferences and tolerances than it is for a Western person. But it's still going to be very
Mm-hmm.
tailored and specific. So you're able to now, this is where making the slice of pie is bigger. This is where my vision is at. So if I'm now able to take that 60% of the underserved population, which is considered in poverty, meaning they make less than $10 a day, if I'm able to
Coach, that's massive.
yeah,
60%.
yeah,
God
exactly. They
dang,
make less than $10 a
it's a
day.
big number.
So they're not even being
Mm-hmm.
factored into any of these equations of, making money and stuff like that. But if you're able to tap into them, level them up physically and mentally, and give them holistic coaching and show them what they're capable of, because you've now given them the tools to start executing forward. Like if you have clarity of mind and physical strength, then now you're like, okay, maybe I can tackle something else. Maybe I can tackle something else. What's this about? Well, now you have 60% of the population that is now contributing to that pie that we had before that was fractionalized.
Yes.
So there's way more money out there when you start looking at supporting these people and giving them tools to elevate themselves and bring that over into DeFi. I believe those are going to be the ones that will actually give us the true DeFi that we need because they benefit the most. But right now, they're cut off. They have no access to it. They don't understand it. So you got to give
Mm-hmm.
them a way to get started that actually gives them a foundation. Just telling them, hey, invest in this moon coin is not the foundation. They need to build their body and their mind and understand what they're capable of. Like I sign off all my YouTube videos with, achieve your impossible. Right now, they have a limiting belief in their brain that they can't do anything other than what their brother, uncle, mother, father did, and that's sell chicken or shoes or whatever the case may be. But if you show them
Yeah.
another way, then they start to think differently. And if they're thinking differently, they start to reach a little further and they pull somebody else up and they reach a little further. And then you just grow this entire huge community because of just that one seed you planted.
Coach, that's powerful, man. Soundbar. 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 Coach, I'm gonna do this. NYC, I see you're listening. This is right up your alley. If you can, give me like 2 minutes of your time. I want your perspective on the conversation that Coach and I are having on the holistic approach in terms of wellness, physical fitness, and building wealth. Because I know this is right in your wheelhouse. So if you got 2 minutes, give me 2 minutes. All right, Coach, let's do this because I want to get into to your point, which is next on my list. Like really the added perks that people are missing with your project.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got down like a couple of things, but let's kind of tease it apart so people really understand outside of the health
Yep.
and wellness benefits, there's like true revenue,
Right.
like financial benefits associated with it. So, can we go through some of the perks that you're offering to people willing to participate in the crowdfunding?
Sure can. Where you want to start?
So, let's start with because what I've got down here, I'm referring to it as like the revenue share piece of it,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, like to me, like I think most people's goals in life, when you think about traditional, everybody wants to own a home,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And the piece of owning a home is saying now you've got like equity,
Right.
you've got an asset that you can maintain, you could leverage it to create additional wealth. You can maintain the asset to then pass down to future generations. And
Exactly.
all of that is because you have equity in this asset and you're offering that
Mm-hmm.
as part of this crowdfunding raise,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah. So that is exactly kind of the biggest perk in this. So I didn't want any speculative kind of tokens, kind of the same way Forex phrased that. So I didn't want to do any kind of token raise where people are expecting something to go up, they want to trade it or whatever the case may be. I wanted people to align with the vision that I have and they want to invest in this merging technology and ride that wave. Like I said, just be in the stream just to get wet. That's it. That's how money flows. If you get in the way, you get wet and you make some money out of it. So I know all three of these areas, crypto, health and wellness, and AI are not going anywhere, and they're all moving in the same direction. And being in the center of that has a guaranteed success rate, like a much, much higher success rate. Of course, there are black swan events that could happen, and this may not kick off. So, but that being said, I'm willing to bet on myself and bet on that actual eventual outcome. So the biggest perk in this platform that I'm kind of pitching is that ownership, as you mentioned. So it's the traditional VC, the venture capital crowdfunding, where you're owning a share of the revenue of what I'm forecasting us to be able to do. I've run some numbers. I'm not going to go through there now because it's difficult to say we'd hit that. But like you mentioned, what I mentioned a few minutes ago, we have an ability to tap into a much broader slice of the pie. I'm going to be targeting non-crypto people as well. So I can run ads and campaigns to people all over the world and use a fiat on-ramp for them to purchase this $5 plan. So it fits literally everybody's budget. There's no barrier to entry and it's customizable to each person. So that means there's a lot more potential to earn money on this platform. And of that money, there's 3 different tiers that are paid out. So the Pioneer is our tier 1. That's the most affordable NFT that you can purchase, and that costs $100. And that person will receive 5% of that crowdfunding wallet paid out for 12 months. So I don't know again what that payout would be, but
Right.
it's definitely a massive amount with potentiality factored in. Then
Yep.
in tier 2 is the next one, and that's $500. That's our Trailblazer, and they will receive 15% for 18 months.
15% for
Yep.
18 months.
And then last is our Game Changer that costs $2,500, and they will receive 30% for 24 months. And in a
Crazy.
right. And in addition to that, because this is, again, I want you guys to understand the way I'm building this out is exactly like I said, the way AI works. So I'm building layers of one another. So this first version of this NFT is just for me to get something out there for you to have and see proof of concept and, it's working. But what I'm going to be doing is learning as well, meaning I'm learning what the behaviors of my community are and who I'm looking to reward long term. So this NFT will give me some feedback on how people are viewing my development and the platform, because from these different tiers, I'm also awarding what I'm calling points towards the governance token that will be created. So there will be an actual token eventually, very similar to what we have with the Pigpen, where you own the platform. But I don't want to just give that out in the beginning. I want to actually reward that based on positive behavior, based off of supporting the platform, based off of longevity, all these metrics that I'll be able to get real-time data from, because the data will be there and I'll be able to see what you're doing, who's using the platform, who's referred people, who's giving me feedback on it. So there's points being collected all throughout the journey. And at some stage, I'm not going to tell anybody when, but that's when this governance will come in. And based on the tier you purchase, you'll get a certain amount of tokens in exchange for these points you've accumulated. And those points will give you a certain allocation of those tokens, and those tokens will be 100% ownership. There'll be a fixed amount. This is not going to be a inflation supply, deflation supply. It's just fixed. What's out there is out there, kind of like the Bitcoin standard. That's it. And that will be in perpetuity for all the other things I'm building on top of this platform. So again, if you
Coach, crazy.
if you believe in me and you believe in the power of these 3 intersecting technologies and some of the visions that I have for this, then the sky is the limit in regards to owning an asset that will pay you significant dividends into the future.
Coach, let me do this, man, because I want them to understand. So let's go back to one other thing, because Jesus Christ, I'm so overwhelmed with everything that you're saying, only because I've seen the fruits of your labor in a relatively short period of time. Like, if it's not clear to most people by this point, you are a really focused, driven person. Like, you identify an opportunity and you're relentless at filling the void, right? You just are. And if that means putting in countless hours, organizing a group of people to collab on an idea and a concept to, be first to market, you're willing to do all of those things. And for me, just knowing that you're willing to do whatever it takes, for lack of a better word, do whatever it takes to see something succeed should give people enough curiosity to want to find out more, right, Coach? Let's at least say that curiosity found out a bit more. And then when they dig into Twitter Spaces and all of the videos that you've produced, and again, in a relatively short period of time, and all of the massive milestones in just YouTube, they've got to realize that you're going to bring that same level of commitment and effort to Change 360.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's almost like a no brainer. But here's what I would say, and do me this before I get into the other couple perks. There's always this element of competition and dry powder and
Right,
how
right.
much money you have
Yeah, for
available,
sure.
right? So with everything kind of circulating just within our own community, right?
Mm,
Just within our own community, and all of it is focused on the right thing, which is how do we do our part as a community that then benefits Drip.
right.
And quite frankly, Drip's price,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
everyone's doing their part. So how do you then navigate with everything that's going on and say, hey, look, I'm special too. I need you guys to kind of focus on what I'm doing over here. Everybody
Yeah.
who's doing something in the space is relevant. It's adding value, but find time and money to participate in this. What would you say to them?
Yeah, that's man, that's a tough sell because yeah, it is all competing for the same eyeballs and same capital. So I guess what I mentioned before, I think it was a Mike the Investor or Andre Topian, I can't remember, but it's essentially I'm only looking for people that align with me, right? And my values and
Okay,
what I'm trying to put out there. So they have a belief and they are passionate and they align with what I want. So I'm not trying to actually sell this to anyone because, like I said,
good
regardless
for
of if
you.
we succeed in the crowdfunding, the platform's already being developed. I got the team, because they align with my vision. So I've rallied people behind
Yeah,
me to put in the sweat equity, and they're like, "Yo, we see what you're trying to build. We're gonna build these smart contracts. We're gonna build this UI, and yeah, we're not getting paid. Ain't nobody got any money for this yet. Nobody's got a single
yeah,
dollar, and everything's being built right now in the background, and it will indeed launch in the next 30 to 45 days, regardless. So I can't really pitch to people to say, yo, invest in me, trust me, do this, that, and the third. Because if, like you said, if over the last 14 months of my content, 800 plus videos, if you haven't decided that you want to rock out with me, then I'm not here to convince you, I'll just let my work speak for itself. And I guarantee, like I said before, I will succeed. Maybe not immediately, but absolutely and definitely, because this is a passion project that I'm 100% driven by. I told it before, it's my forever project. So until they throw dirt on me or throw me in an oven, I'm going to continue grinding this out because I love all three of these areas. So there's nothing else out there for me to do.
gotcha, man. Soundbar. All right, so let's do this. So I saved this one for last because to me, this is the cherry on
Mm-hmm.
top. This is one of the perks outside of the revenue share, the bonus points, and the governance tokens. We got the Task Human platform. My goodness, you got to share that one with them because the Task Human platform, not everyone has access to this
No.
platform. Not everyone can afford this platform.
Right.
But if you do have access to this platform, be ready to be leveled up wherever you are
Yeah.
in whatever technical field you manage and or support. If you plug into Task Human, be ready to be leveled up. And somehow you've got a partnership with those guys.
Yeah.
Help them understand what that is, coach.
Yeah. So Task Human in and of itself is basically a personal live one-on-one wellness platform, live one-on-one training wellness platform. So they do training in basically any area of wellness you can think of. Relationship coaching, spiritual coaching, financial coaching, yoga,
Yeah.
Zumba, Pilates, um, you name it, dog training, for example. They got it. There's a coach for literally
Yes.
any and everything. And what's so powerful about this platform is it's live one-on-one 24/7. So let's just say you were,
Live one on one.
yeah.
Coach, we got to play that back, man. I don't want that to go over their head. Live one on one coaching
Yeah,
with experts.
right.
Experts, right?
Yeah. So let's just say you were, struggling to get to sleep because again, something that happened in your life. So you got some insomnia going on. You can get on a call at 1 a.m. US time and find somebody in the other time zone that can walk you through some sleep meditation yoga and put you to sleep, calm you at ease, whatever the case may be. So any area of wellness, and like you just mentioned, these are expert coaches. So these people are actually, they go through a 4 interview process. I'm in the middle. I do interviews 2 and 3 to actually source these coaches. And it's a very strict process. And they've been around the platform now almost about 5 years. They got some VC funding, and their goal is to have 1 billion users on the platform, I think by 2025, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly where
Ooh,
they're at now, but they're trying
okay.
to be the go-to personalized wellness one-on-one platform in the world. And the way that they're tackling that, which alludes to what you mentioned before, not everybody has access, is they originally were trying to sell this to the end consumer, but like you mentioned, it's expensive. So I think right now
Expensive. Yeah.
it's gone down. It used to be $1 a minute. I think now it's 50 cents a minute. And so you're talking for, 1 hour training call, it's $30. And that may not be expensive to some people, but if you're doing psychology, you're going through like 10 to 20 hours a month, and that adds up very quickly. So
Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
so that's not affordable for a lot of people. But
No.
for us, and or what they did to fix that, I should say, is they decided to instead give this away to major corporations. So like your top 500 uh, type corporations, and they give it to them as part of their what employee wellness package. So kind of like your insurance model. They can charge a premium and know that the company will pay for every single one of their employees, but not every single employee is going to use it because it's that kind of insurance. You use it when you need it kind of thing. So they can afford to do it a little cheaper. So because of that, they have exclusivity for the most part with companies. But since I kind of work, not kind of, I do work for them. I do coaching on the platform to clients, and then I actually do part of the hiring process for other coaches. I pitched them this idea and said, hey, you're part of your vision or your mission statement is to get to 1 billion users. Here's an entire area that's going to be excelling that I think we can tap into. And essentially, I'm building a company. It's just a decentralized version of that. And I want to find a way to give my clients access to the platform. So the bridge is that in our crowdfunding model, we have this built in. So it costs a lot of money. So that's why the crowdfunding model at 50%, we can actually fund this part of the task human integration. And then at
Yeah.
100%, we can fully fund it. But regardless, again, that's why I keep telling everybody it doesn't matter. I'm going to execute on this no matter what. This will be integrated into the roadmap
Mm,
regardless.
gotcha.
So,
No matter what.
right. So
Okay.
I'll add this as
Hmm.
its own NFT later to actually get this introduced to people that are participating on the Change 360 platform.
Sweet. Very sweet. Soundbar. Soundbar. Yeah, coach, I tell you this, in my previous life, working at a Fortune 500 company, the executive level, we would always participate in these type of sessions. The difference was these people would actually come to the facility
Mm-hmm.
and we would sit in these classrooms for anywhere between like 3 to 5
Yep.
days for the
Yeah.
week
Boot
and get
camps.
all of this high level training from these experts in their chosen field.
Right.
And here's what I've learned. Um, here's what I've learned. Like everyone has the capacity in most cases to be brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is access to the right resources that
100%.
help bridge the gap, right? Because I find like if you're not in the room, you're not getting the same information,
Yep.
right? So if you're in the room and you have access to the same information, a lot of your decision making will be better,
Yeah. 100%.
right? They're not smarter, they just got access. So something like this allows the average person to level up their thinking, their physical ability, their mental stamina,
Exactly.
and all the other perks associated with Task Human. And that is part of your perks.
Right. And like you just mentioned,
Come on,
that
man.
accessibility is what you just said allows them to level up. And then if people are leveling up, then they're becoming better functioning individuals in society, contributing more. And then again, we make the slice of the pie bigger. That's my goal. I'm not trying to fight for the same piece. I'd much rather have 1% of $10 billion than have 100% of $100,000. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
I totally agree with you. I love it, man. So this is good. So let me go through this because I want to make sure, because there were some things on my notes, and I believe we covered all of the high levels. Let me just make sure, Coach, because I really want people to play this back and understand what it is, the perks associated with it, and then how to get involved. So clearly, we want people to get involved because you've done a good job of introducing yourself and explaining what it is and what the perks are associated with your product idea. Now, the natural progression will be like the call to action. So if they like what they heard and
Mhm.
they want to find out more, clearly they can follow you on YouTube because you've got a ton of videos that explain it. But then I know you've got a website for people to log into
Yep.
or
So
get access to. Yeah.
if you're looking to purchase the NFT, then that's going to be on sidekick.finance. I'm not going to give the whole thing because it's kind of long, but if you go there, you'll find at the top of their webpage, they have a jump start button. That's basically where all these crowdfunding campaigns are. And then you'll see some other campaigns from other projects, and you'll find ours, Change 360, and you can click there. Of course, go to my channel, you'll find it there. You follow me on Twitter, you'll find it in multiple different tweets. And then if you want to learn a little more about the actual Change 360 platform, you can go to, well, technically right now, you just go to change360.app. It'll just say coming soon. But if you put docs.change360.app before it, you can actually see kind of the wiki white paper that's out and available to give you some more information on the roadmap and some of the things we're designing, because there's a lot more to this that we didn't cover in it because it would take forever for, again, what I envision this to be. But you can find some of that teased out on that white paper as well as the roadmap that's attached.
Sounds good, Coach. All right, so let's do this because we're at about 6:20-ish in. Let me see if anyone else has a question, Coach, real quick. All right, anyone else that's still listening? Did you have a question? All right, Dividend Miracle, are you raising your hand? If so, you can talk now.
Oh, it wasn't per se a question. I just wanted to shout out Coach. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. You actually get me thinking, running those numbers and everything. And I'm a supporter, and I'll support you. And as Ray and as you always say, put in your brick. So I'll be doing that. I got kicked
Appreciate it.
out of the drip. Yeah, I got kicked out of the drip Telegram because of you defending you for your video. So I feel like I'm a big supporter. So
Yeah, I
we all
appreciate
face the
that.
same.
You sacrifice
Yeah.
your Telegram access. He
so
is definitely a
so
supporter.
Yeah, I
so
appreciate that. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, I'm on support, and like most people on here, I'm pretty sure they support a whole bunch of projects, and your project definitely. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And we all go through similar stuff with Forex's projects and stuff. I'm done.
Right on, my
Yeah.
friend. Right on, my friend. I appreciate it.
Hey, I feel you.
Transparency.
I
Hey,
feel
that's
you.
the constructive feedback we're talking
Exactly.
about, man. Don't take it personal.
Right.
Do not take
Yeah,
it. And I
but
could tell from your tone, you probably didn't say anything
I
inappropriate. It's
know I
just
didn't.
people
I,
are
I just
super
I just
sensitive.
said his video
Yeah.
was correct. It's pure facts. Like, stop being emotional. This man has been
Mm-hmm.
saying this for 6 to 8 months, running the numbers. He's the only one that does this,
Yeah.
that shows the facts, and you can run it down. He's not
Right.
saying anything wrong, and I don't, I could talk for like 15 minutes, but some of the stuff that Ray at Bartertown like does is like it irks me, but I
Yeah.
respect him. And I
Right,
think
right.
Coach said this last week. He's been with Forex for years, so I understand it. If I was in Ray's position, I would do the same thing with kicking people out and like supporting Drip the way that he does,
Right,
because
right,
that's where most of his money came from.
right.
But but I'm gonna get off. But he irks me on certain things, but I respect him. But it's just like him and Forex just got to do stuff a little bit differently to get more people in. We're a big
Right,
community, and that's why I'm in Drip, because of the way the community is for the past year.
right.
But they gotta I mean, everybody knows. They just gotta do stuff a
Yeah,
little
you're
bit
right.
differently.
Everyone
And
knows.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
for
that's
sure.
And I would say this, like Ray's got a tough job. I mean,
yeah.
he
He
absolutely does.
he
Like I
does.
would hate to be in his
and
position.
and and
I really
and
would.
that's why I say that's why I respect him. I
Hmm.
get it. The position that you're in, you've been with rocking with Forex for years. You made all this money, so it's
Right.
ride or die.
Yep.
I do the exact same thing, so I respect him on
Yeah.
that. But it's just some of the things that he's done for the past 4 or 5 months, especially calling out Mo Crypto. Like that was just crazy. But
Mm,
it's
that
just
was interesting.
it's just some things like you just got to maneuver a little bit differently if you want to get a broader range of people. But
Right,
that,
right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on mute. But yeah, all right.
Right on. No, no, no. Again, I
Right,
appreciate the
exactly.
feedback because again, it is well intended.
Yep.
And again, we can tell from the couple interactions we've had already that you're really a very kind, open-minded person and more importantly, reasonable, which means you can see both sides of the equation. I tell people all the time, somebody who tells me that their product or service is infallible, I'm gonna call you a liar to your
Right.
face. Like everything on this planet has room for improvement. And if you're closed minded and not willing to listen to feedback,
Yeah.
then something about you tells me everything I need to know,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Everything I need to know. So I would say this again because I'm going to just leave it this. Ray has a very tough job because Ray has absolutely, and I'm hypothesizing, Ray has absolutely no benefits of calling out Forex Shark,
Yeah, exactly.
right? None at all because of his massive
Hmm.
influence. Like Ray has the potential to moon a crypto or bottom it,
Yeah.
right? Just on his words because of his influence. And then yes, Ray has benefited financially from Drip. So everything he's telling you, he believes it
Exactly.
100% because that's been his story. That's his truth. And we're all just waiting to be a part of that. And it just hasn't happened for most of us who got in late 2021.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting to be able to tell a story very similar to Ray.
Yeah.
So I'm
So,
sorry. Can I say
yeah,
something real quick?
of course.
And you just hit the nail on the head. So the people who, and I think Drip Coach put out a poll about this, but the people that want DDD out is everyone who came in January of 2021. I came in January 2021. Everybody who came in during that time until now wants DDD. If you came in 20, if you came in, no, I'm sorry, 2022.
Right.
If you came in 2021 of when Drip started till December of 2021, you want Animal Farm. You like
True.
what's his name? Crypto Kings. He's always talking about pigs. That's because you have a maxed out wallet.
Right.
Like if you
Yes.
got a maxed out wallet, all you're gonna talk about is Animal Farm. Being
Yes.
honest with you, I don't effing care about Animal Farm right now because I'm trying to get my maxed out wallet,
Right.
which I'm gonna get in like 80 days.
Right.
Once I get that
Congratulations.
maxed out wallet, then I can talk about Animal Farm. But until then, I mean, I need you to come out with DDD. Everybody that no, I'm being
Oh,
honest. I feel like
I know.
I feel
I
like most people feel
understand.
this way.
Yep.
I think
Once
so too. I think
if
so
you
too.
got in January of 2022 and until now, unless you came in January of 2023 and got Drip at 23 cents or 30
Right.
cents,
Right.
you want DDD. And like I get it, Forex. Like you gotta listen to your Dow group. I get it, but like majority of the people want DDD. Like you say you want to listen to the community. Like everybody wants this. Like just do it. But I get it. It's your project. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
But
I
I
totally
just want to
agree.
say that.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
shut up.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I think sometimes it's important for people to be completely transparent
No,
in how they're
100%.
feeling because you're right. There's a lot of people on the call that are feeling the same way.
Oh yeah.
And again, you did it in a way that people can receive the message without being super critical. So I appreciate that. And I agree. I am also really hoping for something on Drip. And I know it's coming. It's right around the corner. I think we've said it many, many times before, but we're closer than we were, a day ago. And I know that Fork Shark is really concerned about his legacy,
Hmm.
right? He's building a brand and he really needs Drip to succeed because Anybody paying attention realizes that if drip does not succeed, then the animal form is going to take its time in terms of being this uber successful platform,
Right.
only because there's so many people waiting to hit on drip so that they then can reinvest their money back into the animal farm. So there's no way he's going to be willing to risk that capital on the drip side for the sake of the animal farm. I just think they're still working through some things, and it's just a lot slower than a lot of us want, but
Yeah.
they're working on it.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
they're working. Coach, you got anything to add there?
Nah. I think
Yeah,
I literally touched on all the things that I keep putting out in the video. The one thing I guess I
yeah,
would elaborate on or make it different is like, and I put this out before multiple times, and it just came as me an epiphany. It's like, yeah, I'm at the stage where I don't care or think Forex needs to do anything. There's a new video I got coming out now, I think, about that, and it's because of not what you said, infallible, but the fact that the contract is there and it's immutable. So it works,
yeah,
right? So all we have
yeah,
to do as a community, so we keep saying what Forex needs to do, and we would like what Ray would do, or we'd like for Telegram to be this, that, and the third. It's like, no, that's the whole reason I created the Drip Marketing DAO, is so that I can take control and take it to
yeah,
where I want it to be with my vision and a community that I can create that will support it in the way that I know will be successful. So it's like, yeah, I don't actually care anymore what happens on the other side, because I know the work ethic and the team that I'm building, and that I'm not going to let this go, and that this can and will be successful in the future by this marketing team. And not just with the marketing team for Drip. This is a decentralized marketing team that I can now take and pimp out to other projects.
yes,
so
totally,
so we're
totally.
becoming this kind of AI, and actually we use AI. We use AI for the blogs, use AI for the art and all this stuff. So we can be very efficient and precise and start creating a rally cry in multiple different countries and areas once we kick this thing off and able to fund it. So it's like, yeah, I'm not worried about any projects anymore or anything like that. I'd like it right now, of course, because I'm wrecked just like the rest of us. But I know I have a solution. And the solution, again, is built on science and facts and not anything else. So it's like, yeah, I can kind of now just push off everything that I hear in the delays. And I'm like, yo, I'm working on something that I know will be monstrous, and tying it with my Change 360 platform. I can take that marketing team and then have them market to, again, non-crypto people. There's billions of them out there. So I'm
Yes,
like, yeah, this is limitless
billions
for
with
me.
the B. Yeah, billions with the B. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get there, and so would he. And to your point, which is crazy, like, and I can't believe I've finally gotten to this point. I am less focused on a date from Forex than I ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being extremely honest with people. And I think I had to really shift my mindset and think about the half full concept,
Yeah.
which is, in my example, here's what's kind of happened with the delays. It was never a realistic goal for me to think that I could max out a wallet at 27.4K drip. Because at the time that I got in, it was like $100
Right.
per drip. You understand? Right. So wouldn't that have been, if my math is right, how much is that? Like 27.4. If you add two more zeros, is that like
Yeah.
$2.7 million or something like that? That was never a goal. And now I can honestly say that I can actually max out in a wallet in like 30 to 60 days.
Right. Right.
That was never a real possibility, right? And then think about the other thing in terms of the community actually becoming independent and
Exactly.
really putting the drip ecosystem on their backs.
Mm.
Like, look at all of the products. We've got Change 360, right? We've got the Guardians of the Reservoir. We've got Hellhounds. We've got Droplet, right? And we've got all of these massive, and then Foodtopian.
Yep. Just came out.
Foodtopian's got
Yeah.
something. Like, think about it. If we were all swimming in money, there's no way in heck these ideas would have become concepts that people can execute on,
Exactly.
right? So all we're really doing is kind of building momentum in the meantime. So you're building your bag and you're building momentum with all of these new product ideas. So when we finally, not we, but when Forex finally launches, we're going to be so positioned that this is going to be a distant
Yeah.
memory. Because keep in mind, it's only been a year, but we know that in cryptocurrency, a year is like 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
But a year of your lifetime is nothing. Think about this. And I don't want to sound like I'm saving anybody and making excuses. I'm just letting you know the shift I had to make to feel less emotional about what's happening.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I tend to think about. Think about your average career working your typical 9 to 5, Monday through Friday,
Hmm.
right? They are telling you to put aside 50 to $200 a month. And after 30 years,
Right.
you may have like $100,000.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
coach?
For sure.
30 years, you may have $100,000 sitting there waiting for you.
Right.
And we're concerned about 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Ah, I get it. Trust me, I do. I get the frustration. I do. But we got to keep things in perspective.
For sure.
Really, just keep things in perspective. All right. Great conversation. Coach, anything else you wanted to add?
Nah, that's it. That's it.
Man, I enjoy the conversation, man. We never know where they're going to go. And what makes them even more fun is when the listeners actually become
Yeah,
speakers.
for sure.
Like, so get out of your cocoon and actually become a butterfly. And for the men, I'll come up with a different example for you. Because that sounds kind of cute, but I will. All right, but I do. Trap? Okay, there we go. Trap, can you hear me, sir?
Hey,
Right on,
what's
brother. How you
going on,
doing?
family? Hey, check it out, right?
Good, good.
I don't know. I know everybody's seen. Oh shit! Look at New York laughing at me. Um, I know y'all seen Stunner video this morning. It kind of made me tight. He talking about drip coach got to be white. He talking about I know he white. Why would you say such a thing?
No, I didn't see
I haven't
that.
seen it
What?
yet
Oh
either.
no.
I
What?
gotta check it out.
He talking about, and he was. I mean, no hate. I'm just making jokes, but he
Yeah,
said it like it was a fact, and then he already said you was like a tree hugger or some shit. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and I caught
oh
him
man,
enough.
he hating on my
Yeah.
boy, man.
Coach, but I said it before, which is why I said it's so important for you to get on Twitter Spaces. Like, this is the platform where you can actually come on and answer questions. In this case, answer questions live, so people can really understand your makeup. And I don't think people
Right.
understand your makeup. In the last two Twitter Spaces that we've had, man, if they don't know who you are by now, they'll never get it. And to your point, you don't need their support,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Because you really don't. Because I already know for a fact, man, that you're misunderstood only because you are willing to give the unfiltered, raw, and uncut truth. You don't pick a side. You let the data speak for itself.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, there's nobody who can argue the data that you present. So if they're mad at anything, it's not you as the person, it's the freaking data.
Right. Right.
Period.
It's
Right?
I.
And if people don't want to accept the data, that's a separate
Yeah.
conversation. But
Exactly.
your job is to make people aware of the information. You take all of this noise, and like I said before, you take all this noise and you sift through the BS and say, here's what you need to focus on. Because I know it's drip specific, and I'm getting amped up because I need people to understand this because I think the same way. I know it's drip specific content, drip ecosystem specific content,
Mhm.
but it's cross-functional, meaning you can take the same analysis that you're doing for drip and animal farm and apply it to another
Right.
cryptocurrency. So you know what you're doing? You're actually educating people by providing resources and guidance and analytical tools to make freaking decisions with your money.
Right. Right.
Hey,
So
hey,
anybody who wants to argue that, yo, take a second look, because I think you're taking sound bites
Yep.
in small cuts, right? Like the top G, small sound bites, small cuts, and not really getting the context in which he's delivering the information. And I think once you build all that in, your perspective of coach will change. I guarantee you.
I gotta watch that video and see what he said. So it's
yeah,
on my queue. I didn't get to watch. I usually watch all the videos before, but since this call was at 5 a.m., so I usually watch them on my run and stuff like that. But I got up at 4, so I couldn't see it. His is in the queue, but I haven't seen it yet. But it's funny if he said that. It's
yeah,
hilarious because that last video I did about 7 days ago, where I think I put the Spartan 300 on the thumbnail. It was just a walk and talk. So it's just me 5 minutes talking about why I'm passionate about drip now, and the community's got drip marketing DAO going and all this stuff. That was me on the camera talking. Stunner commented on that video and said, "No fluff YouTube, baby," because I actually put in there, "This is no fluff. This is me unfiltered." he commented on that video, saw my face, and he's seen my face on other ones as well. So man, he's just, I don't know. Son is
So
just another
Trap, is he a
character.
fan? I don't want to get it twisted. He's a fan, right?
He's a
Yeah,
fan. Now,
yeah,
what I think, to be honest, I think he just I think he gets certain people mixed up with the names.
Yeah,
okay,
Cause Stunner, like, don't get me wrong, he in the space, but you know he doing his own thing.
yeah,
He not tapped in like we are. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, for
So I
sure.
think he just mixed up the name. Because if you listen to the video,
yeah.
he was kind of mixing up names. He was like, "Oh, I think his name's such and such," but he was talking about somebody else, and then, you know what I
He
mean.
Right,
said
So
Yeah,
he
that's
said drip
probably what it was.
strategy,
Yeah, he
strategy.
was talking about drip strategy as well. So
right,
I
right.
think that's what it
Okay,
was.
just
okay,
misspoke.
okay.
I
Because
misspoke a lot in my
I was
videos, so
like,
I
I
can take
know
that.
Stunner's got to be a fan. I
Yeah,
just want to
Yeah,
make sure everybody caught the message and make sure that he wasn't throwing shade. Like
it was
I
no.
could not expect that.
It
Yeah,
was just hilarious. I was like, "Oh man, I thought y'all seen it. That's why I
not
mentioned
nah,
yet,
it's
not
on my
yet.
queue. I haven't got it yet.
Mine too.
it." Hey, one more thing I wanted to add, man, if y'all don't mind. I did a little calculations, man, and I could be wrong. I'm not a mathematician, but based off my own process or journey, if people have been compounding even since like all-time highs
Yeah,
at $2, they should be broken even. But
Mm,
this is the bonus: they have way more drip.
I know you
right,
said that earlier. Come on, man.
Right,
right.
The
right.
type
I
of
mean,
drip you got is crazy.
the thing is they not really paying attention to that part because they chasing these McDonald meals. They want the new 444, and it's cool. I get it. I,
Right.
I wasn't always able to eat vegetables either, but you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because a salad is much expensive than a
yeah,
burger,
it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Makes sense.
I get it. But like you said, you made a great point when you said, I'm not sure if you was talking about the bank. I kind of tuned out a little bit, but you
Hmm.
was like 30 years, 100 grand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we complaining about 18 months. Bruh,
yeah,
this year went by like a breeze.
Right.
yeah,
I remember it was just December and we was talking about DDD in March. It's March. I done forgot all about
yeah,
it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Absolutely.
time,
No, you got it wrong. It's gonna be in about 3 minutes.
right. So
Right, right.
the whole thing is just compound, bro.
Just compound, because
Just
everything
compound.
else is outside of our control.
Yep.
It's been
Which
going steady.
yes, is outside of our control. What he's going to do is outside of our control. You can control how you respond to it and how you contribute. That's it, right? So
Big
getting
facts.
pissed off and trying to rush that guy to do anything, that's a waste of time and energy.
Exactly.
Let it go.
I learned a lot about that word community is real. Like if everybody in this space right now, like in this Twitter space, say we had a neighborhood, right? But we
Hmm.
didn't have a govern like police and stuff like that. It was just all us. We would need people to protect. That's a part of the community. We would
Absolutely.
need farmers, somebody to provide food. We would need some type of woman to be a nurse in
Yeah,
our community.
1000%.
Those are putting your bricks in.
Right.
1000%. Soundbar.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. So look, man, I was trying to cut it off at 6:30, but you know how we roll.
Yeah, my
We
bad,
always
my
go a
bad.
little long.
It's all good. All good.
Life is good though. Life is good. Hey, for all of my speakers and my listeners, one last time, because I want to make sure everybody had something to say that they were able to say it. Otherwise, Coach, as always, man, it is fun, entertaining, engaging, and I always learn something every time we have a conversation, man. I would say this out loud and to everybody that's listening. You are a massive contribution to the space, a big time ambassador. And I'm so glad you're on our team, man. That's all I got to say. So glad you're on our team.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this is definitely my forever team now. I found my tribe and I'm gonna build them out brick by brick, just like putting in the support for it. So I ain't going anywhere.
I already know, bro, because I'm going to need you every Wednesday. No, I'm teasing. Hey, hold on, Drip Coach, one sec. Let me see if I can get NYC in here. I'm trying to get him connected. Let's see if he connects. And in the meantime, all of my listeners, Don Sepp, I see ya. Lady Mania, working on her. Let me go back to the notes. I think she said she maxed out 5 wallets.
Damn.
Only maxed out 5 wallets. She is killing it. I want to be you when I grow up. That's all I'm saying. Want to be you. Master Chef, welcome. Appreciate you guys hanging in there. Rock. Okay, NYC, I cannot get you on, my friend. It's just kind of buffering. So let's do this. I'm gonna give everybody back their Wednesday night. And as always, I wish everyone peace and prosperity. Until then, stay hydrated. Coach, thanks again, my friend.
Man, appreciate it.
Trap. Right on, my friend.
Yo.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, no problem, man. Everybody be safe, y'all.
Right on. Mark, I got you. Don Sepp, NYC, Lady Mania, Master Chef, Rock, Ape, Thinja, West Side, DeFi Crypto, OX0777. See ya. Who else we got on here? Crypto Kayla. Ooh, I love that one. That's cool. Who else we got? Bigger Bro, welcome. Robert, thanks for hanging in there. Dividend Miracle, my guy, for coming on, flexing his vocal cords, actually speaking this week. Love it. Patine 9, there always. Anyone else next week will be here every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time with a special guest talking about the best in the business, drip, animal farm related projects, and anything else in cryptocurrency that makes you money. Be safe out there, everyone. Have a good evening.
See you guys.
All right, Coach, right on.
Thanks. Much appreciated.